Hi there. Welcome to MiWeek. I'm Christy McDonald. We are so glad that you're joining us. You know our contributors, Nolan Finley of the Detroit News and Stephen Henderson of the Detroit Free Press. You know, it's been a while since we've all been together at the big desk. So, what's new, guys?
Primary week, right?
Was new. Poll out today. We have a new poll out today, and it looks like Hillary Clinton's beating Donald Trump like a rented mule in Michigan.
That and the fact that it's already August. It feels like the summer has gone by. It's gone by pretty quickly.
Kids got out of school late, and they go back early.
They go back early, and so I expect the schools and education conversations to start brewing the next couple of weeks.
Well, it'll be interesting actually to see how Detroit Public Schools, now that it's in the middle of this transition.
Right.
I haven't heard much in terms of their recruitment efforts to try to get kids in. Previous years, by now, you're having like the Blue Door campaign, other campaigns. They're going to have to fill seats. It's really important that they get their kids in school.
Right.
Historically, years after there's a work stoppage in the schools, a strike or whatever, there was a sick out this year, they have lost significant numbers of kids in the fall because parents just decide that's enough. If that happens this year, it really jeopardizes
the uncertainty,
the financial thing. But can you really blame them too? Because if you have such uncertainty going on, I mean, you really can't blame the parents. All right, well, we have a lot to talk about today. Coming up tonight, we're going to be looking at those primary results and some of the surprises. Also coming up, finally, a compromise to get the regional transit question on the ballot. But what are the hopes now of it passing? And the presidential race, more calls for Republicans to back away from Trump, a new Michigan poll out that Nolan mentioned, and we'll explore the possibility of a third-party surge. But we are going to start with the primary results from this week in Michigan. And it's a pretty big year because of term limits. There will be turnover in the state house, 42 of 110 seats. But because of the way the districts are, historically Republican or Democrat, some of the races were pretty much decided on Tuesday in terms of some of the state house races, Nolan.
Well, I don't know if you can say that. I mean, that's traditionally what you would think. But in a presidential year, if there's a huge drop-off support, if there's a huge fall-off in support for either party, you can't count on those traditional assumptions about these districts holding too. You could see, a year like we saw in 2004 or 2010, where everything goes out the window.
Do you think there's more of a toss-up this year than people assume?
I don't know. It's really hard to see a lot of districts where they're going to be competitive in November. I don't think there are more than we have had in the last two cycles under this map. Democrats still think they might have a shot at taking the House because of I guess there are 9 seats that they think they can get away from Republicans. But I don't know. I don't think this map is terribly competitive, and we're early in the cycle. Usually, what happens is you draw the map in the 0 year. Takes effect in the 2 year. It's usually by the 8 year and the 0 year again that it's not reflective of the population. The 6 year is sort of where it, I think, has the most effect.
But a lot of these people were voted in 2010 in that Tea Party wave. A lot of them were voted in traditionally Democratic districts that aren't as reliably even Republican even after the redraw. And so you have some 30-some open seats where no incumbents running. And so I think that makes it a lot harder to predict. I think it's a toss-up.
A couple things to also look at coming out of the primary was 2 congressional districts, so the 10th and also looking at the 1st. And we were all talking a little bit about the fact that looking at the outsiders coming in those races. What did you make of those two?
Well, I think they're different. I mean, I don't know that I would lump the 1st and the 10th together. I think in the 1st, there's no question that you've got this very appealing outsider who is a very straight talker, who a retired Marine,
a former Marine,
colonel.
a businessman.
I mean, he's got a lot to appeal to the sort of disaffected voter and to, I think, sort of lockstep Republicans, challenging two sort of establishment Republicans who had mixed records in terms of who's more moderate. They had both done things in the past that had angered Republican voters. I think we probably should have put more stock in Jack Bergman than we did going into it. It wasn't that close.
No, he went away with it, and that's when Binishak took that seat in that primary, Jason Allen, who was among the lawmakers defeated, it was just a handful of votes behind him, and
Right.
man, he finished a far out
Yeah.
third. And so I think, though, that district is now going to get a lot of national attention.
It is.
A lot of money was going to come in there anyway, because Lon Johnson is married to one of Obama's top fundraisers. A lot of money was going to come into that district. But now I think the DNCC will put a lot of emphasis. That's a traditionally Democratic district or area that they can take back. In the 10th, where you had Paul Mitchell making his second.
And that was Candace Miller's seat.
Candace Miller's seat. I thought you had 3 lawmakers or former lawmakers in it, and they may have divided sort of their votes from their districts and gave Paul Mitchell an opening, but he won fairly handily. Spent a lot of money to do it.
I was just going to say, I think that's an interesting story about how much money he has spent. Now, he ran in the 4th, and he spent over $2 million there, and he did not win, and then he moved to the 10th, and now he spent about over $2 million this time around as well.
I think it was 3.5.
So what does that say?
I'm not sure what it's. I mean, I don't know what to make of why he was able to beat Phil Pavlo, who is, you know, a very popular establishment Republican, a guy who holds office but does not really disappoint Republican voters very frequently. So, you know, Paul Mitchell is more of an unknown, I think, just because he's never held office. He
didn't live in the district.
He doesn't really live in the district. He's very eager to go to Congress, which he's shown by running in 2 different districts in 2 different cycles.
I don't know why you would spend $7 million over these 2 races for that. I mean, what amounts to a pretty lousy job.
Everyone likes the idea of it before they get there, and then they figure out that.
But you know, it might have hurt that or helped him that there were 3 lawmakers in that race. Each had districts and loyal supporters in there, and they divided those up. And
but
you know,
back to the first, I think one of the things that's interesting in the first is one of I thought one of the real strong criticisms that could be made of Lon Johnson in the general was that he lives in the district, he's from the district, but he's, you know,
mostly
lives in
here.
Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lived in Detroit for some time. That's now off the table by having Jack Bergman, who's also sort of a I live in lots of places guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to be an effective criticism.
No, that's right.
And that could change the balance of what the Republicans sort of are able to do.
I think that's going to get a lot of attention. I also think if you look now at given the possible drag on the ticket by the presidential nominee, I think if you look at that Wahlberg district, I think a lot of money is going to pour into there. And if they take 2 seats here, you suddenly got a 7-7 congressional delegation, something you haven't had here in a long time.